is India had a free press, Modi and the BJP would have lost the general elections of 2024. You know, one leader, one nation, one party, one ruler, one thought, one food, one dress, one god, one religion, one mandir, one temple, one culture, one language. This is, I think, completely wrong for India. What free speech is there? My God, today you say anything, you'll have a FIR against you, you'll have the IT cell after you, you'll be put under sedition. Every year has brought some disaster that the Modi government has done, and the press has not taken the government to task, the press has not questioned, the press has not held the government accountable. Mr. Narendra Modi should ask the governor of Bengal, C.V. Ananda Bose, to resign.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Statesman Talk with me, Deepti J. Verma. Today we are being joined by Sagarika Ghose, who's a veteran journalist, a columnist, anchor and author, and now a member of the Rajya Sabha from the Trinamool Congress. Welcome, Sagarika.
Hi Deepti, lovely to be here with you.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, so to begin with, obviously I'm going to pose the most obvious question, that you were one of the staunchly, against joining politics by journalists. What made you change your mind when you did?
Deepti, I certainly was always in favor of journalistic independence, that journalists should not join politics, that journalists should stay away from politics, and that was my position for all my journalistic career. But over the last 4 to 5 years, the manner in which our democracy is threatened, the manner in which our basic values of democracy, the basic structure of the constitution is being threatened, the manner in which the media is being captured by the BJP and by the Modi government, the manner in which the media is becoming a propaganda machine, a hate machine, and that voices who are dissenting, voices who are questioning, voices who are trying to do journalism are being shunted out, are being marginalized, are being neutralized within journalism. So my decision to join politics is because I felt that the time for non-alignment is over, the time for being a bystander is over, the time for sitting on the fence is over, the time for, looking at India journalistically is over, because of the nature of the threat that now exists to our democracy and to the media. I think Indian democracy is now facing what I call a catastrophe. The institutions of democracy are facing a catastrophe, and I think it's time for all of us professionals, to stand up and be counted and to ask ourselves, where do we want this country to go? Do we want to be on the side of hatred and propaganda, or do we want to be on the side that defends democracy?
So when you say you want to obviously have your independent voice and you wanted to speak truth to power, is politics the only other option for the citizens? Like, if you're a journalist, could you not delve into like citizens journalism, or is there any other form of journalism that you could have done?
Deepti, journalism, to my mind, at this moment in time, is going through a crisis. When young people come and ask me, should they consider journalism as a profession today, I say no, don't go into journalism.
Not for the ideals that it stood for? Or
it's not free. The press is no longer free. The press is no longer questioning. The mainstream press, there are many exceptions. I count the Statesman among one of them. There are many digital platforms which are the exception. But by and large, the mainstream media has become completely a handmaiden to the Modi government.
Because of the corporate...
there's corporate pressure, there is political pressure, there's political coercion, there's political threats, there's the monetary inducements. So there's a kind of parasitic relationship that's developed between the mainstream media, the legacy media, I would say, and and the Modi government, so that the basic questions are not being asked by journalists. Let me point you to some questions. 8th November 2016, Mr. Modi came on television screens and announced demonetization and said black money will be over. Where is that promise today? Demonetization is a failure. And economists have said that growth rates came down by a full 1% because of the havoc and the destruction caused by demonetization. If demonetization was such an amazing policy, then why doesn't the BJP government, Modi government, celebrate Notbandi Day? They don't, because it was such a disaster. On March 20th, 2020, March 24th, 2020, you came and suddenly announced that lockdown. Within 4 hours notice, you announced a nationwide lockdown of 1.3 billion people and shut down transport. Migrants had to take to the streets. They had to walk home. So many died. That was another disaster which the press did not take the government fully, did not make the government accountable, did not take the government to task. So these disasters, the hurriedly implemented GST, what is happening to China policy? In 2014, you were swinging with Xi Jinping on a swing on the banks of the Sabarmati. Today, China is occupying 2,000 square kilometers of your territory. 21 rounds of negotiations have taken place between Indian commanders and Chinese commanders. If there's no problem, Modi ji said after the Galwan Valley clashes that wahan koi ghusa nahi hai. But if there's no problem with territorial dispute, then what are these 21 rounds of negotiations taking place for? What has happened to your Pakistan policy? In 2015, you suddenly dropped in on Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter's wedding. Today, Pakistan is the enemy number one. So what is, every issue, every moment of the last 10 years that has caused so much of havoc, that has caused destruction, that has let people down, where people have become disillusioned. You promised 2 crore jobs a year, that hasn't happened. You promised 15 lakhs in people's accounts, that hasn't happened. What are the COVID numbers of this government? The WHO says it's 10 times more than what the government of India is saying. The Lancet says it's 6 to 8 times more than what the government of India is saying. We still don't know what the accurate COVID numbers are. In COVID, you were caught napping. You allowed the Kumbh Mela in Haridwar. You were too busy toppling governments. You've toppled governments. You've toppled 9 governments in 10 years. So, every year has brought some disaster that the Modi government has done, and the press has not taken the government to task. The press has not questioned. The press has not held the government accountable. The press has not asked the kind of questions it should have asked. It hasn't been as adversarial and as interrogatory as it should have been. Which is why I say, if India's press had been free, if India had a free press, Modi and the BJP would have lost the general elections of 2024. The reason why Mr. Modi and the BJP is still in the reckoning is because the mainstream media, the legacy media, is playing trumpeter to the regime. The legacy media is playing handmaiden to the regime. If the legacy media was free, to ask questions, I think he would have lost in the general elections of 2024.
And as a party spokesperson, you obviously have to toe a certain line, and you have to be a mouthpiece for a lot of the party things. Do you still get to have your voice? Which you missed, according to you, which you missed in journalism.
I actually feel liberated by being in the opposition. I feel I've retained my voice. I've regained my voice. I've regained my voice because in journalism I was not able to speak truth to power. I was not able to ask questions. I was not able to interrogate. I was not able to ask that, what's happening to China policy, what's happened to Pakistan policy, what is happening to all these so-called big policy announcements that you're making that are all ending in disaster. There is so much censorship. There's so much, there is so much sort of, you can't say this and you can't say that and you can't mention this word and you can't mention that word. There is so much of this kind of tailoring the content to suit the government.
Which you don't have any directive now.
Now, being part of the democratic opposition, and if the opposition lives, democracy lives. If the opposition lives, dissent lives. If the opposition lives, questioning lives. If the opposition space is there is space for democracy to breathe. So I feel that now, as part of the opposition, I can actually raise concerns that I've always wanted to raise. For me, it's about raising citizens' issues. It's about raising the kind of questions that citizens should know. What is happening to your tax money? Where is it going? What is the PM Cares Fund? How many people are contributing to the PM Cares Fund? what is the government doing about healthcare? What has the government done to increase allotments to healthcare or to education? Today, there's a terrifying statistic, Deepthi, that an 8th standard child cannot read standard 2 texts. That has come out in the ASER report. In the age group 20 to 24, 44% are unemployed. Graduates are unemployed. 80% of those who are unemployed are young people. Yeah. So young are unemployed, young graduates are unemployed. And look at the statistics, 40% of the people own 1% of the people own 40% of the national wealth. So look at the inequality that is existing. So there's one leader, one nation, one party, one ruler, one thought, one food, one dress, one god, one religion, one mandir, one temple, one culture, one language. This is, I think, completely wrong for India. Our strength is our diversity. Our strength lies in the fact that every state is diverse. Every state has its own identity. Every state has its own achievements. I mean, I'm coming from Bengal. As the Trinamool is a Bengal first.
Yeah,
Bengal
why Trinamool?
party.
When you decided to join, did the party come first, or did your decision come first? What happened?
I was offered the post.
So then you thought about it.
And then I thought about it, and then I agreed to do it. Actually, I was offered it a few years ago.
If it was by some other party, you wouldn't have?
I don't think I have the same level of comfort as I have with the Trinamool.
You're a natural fit here?
I think so. I'm a Bengali. I come from Bengali. I'm a Bengali through and through. My parents are Bengali. My grandparents are Bengalis. We are a Kolkata-based family. My grandparents were, illustrious Bengali citizens of Bengal. So I have a comfort factor with Bengal. I have a tremendous admiration for Mamata Banerjee. I think Mamata Banerjee's life story is more compelling than Narendra Modi's.
Let's talk about that. You think she's
more compelling than Narendra Modi?
She's a misunderstood
She's
leader?
Completely misunderstood. She's not written about or not. She has not been covered profiled in the way that she should be. Think about it. She is a woman. She has struggled on her own for years. She won her first seat in 1984, 40 years ago. She has never had a male mentor. There's never been a woman politician in India who has done politics without a male mentor, except Mamata Banerjee. Every woman politician has had a male mentor. Indira Gandhi had Jawaharlal Nehru, Mayawati had Kanchiram, Jayalalitha had MGR. She has never had a male mentor. She had to fight within her party and outside. She has faced beatings, she's faced bruisings, she's been hit, she's been
because
pummeled.
of the Communist Party.
Because of the manner in which the left attacked her. But she stood there. She stood there year after year after year, building a movement against the left and then creating her own party. She's a 4-time union minister. She's a 7-time member of parliament. She's a 3-time chief minister. I mean, this is much more compelling than Narendra Modi. Modi was cocooned in the RSS.
Yeah.
He was cocooned in the Sangh Parivar. He was sheltered by the Sangh Parivar. The Sangh Parivar worked for him and brought him up. It's a huge machinery. It's a support system. They worked for him. They propped him up. They groomed him. She didn't have anyone. She had no one. Think about it. She's an alone woman with no one except her own fighting spirit. So I think that it is the most. I think it is the most compelling story
of a leader,
of a woman leader
in India.
It is hers is Mamata Banerjee's is the most compelling story of a woman leader in India, even more compelling than Indira Gandhi, who had many, many more advantages, who came from a family.
She came from a legacy.
She came from a legacy, and she sort of, her family,
for the role,
her family sort of buoyed her into her role as prime minister. Her family legacy and her father's name. Mamata Banerjee had none of that. She's a grassroots leader. She now has administrative experience, and in times when we talk about the Mahila voter, the Mahila vote, I think my personal view is, why not a Mahila prime minister?
Okay, but just to counter that, she sometimes does come across as somebody who's a bit abrasive, or she walked out of one of your interviews once, and even now there was a meme that was with the meme had the PM dancing, and the PM took it well in its stride, and then the Calcutta police, when the same meme was made for Mamta Banerjee, is there a side to her which is aggressive?
Let me give you an example. Mamta Banerjee walked out of my show in 2012. In 2024, she offered me a Rajya Sabha seat.
So she's
Narendra Modi walked out of Karan Thapar's show in 2007. What has Narendra Modi done to Karan Thapar? Has he offered him a Rajya Sabha seat?
That's true.
Has Modi offered Karan Thapar a Rajya Sabha seat after walking out of his show? Modi has destroyed journalism. He has split journalists like never before. He split journalists wide apart. Some are his favorites, some are not his favorites. He never meets Karan Thapar. He never talks to Karan Thapar. Karan Thapar is completely out of the Modi machine. Mamta Banerjee never stopped talking to me even after that show.
Okay.
She reached out to me, she did interviews with me, she took my questions. There was no element of vengefulness. If that had happened with Modi, I would have been sacked. He would have called up the Malik of the channel and said, get rid of this journalist. That's what he does. He's got his cronies to take over all media channels. Every crony of Mr. Modi is taking over media channels. Anyone who's critical of Mr. Modi is being shunted out. Karan Thapar was similarly treated. He's not in Modi's charm circle. So I ask you the question. One leader walks out of a show and offers that journalist a Rajya Sabha seat. The other leader walks out of a show and completely ostracizes that other journalist.
She's not as intolerant
Mamta
as
Banerjee has, she had come, when those issues happened with the show, she was the first year as chief minister. It happened in 2012. She has evolved considerably since then. She's come out of struggle. I mean, she's come out of a Herculean struggle. As I mentioned, it's an epic struggle on the street. And you do see threats everywhere. You do see, maybe you see that people are trying to get at you for some reason. You see enemies everywhere. It could happen with you and me. If I've come out of a struggle for 24/7, I've been struggling and I've come out of that. I'm born of struggle. I'm a daughter of struggle. And you begin to ask me questions. I would say, why is she asking me these questions? What is her agenda? Is she trying to get at me? You don't have the very finely calibrated responses of people who have had a comfortable life. She's not had a very comfortable life. So yes, perhaps at that time there was a certain sort of unsureness and a certain uncertainty that she had. In fact, one journalist, a senior journalist, has told her once that at that time you were a trainee chief minister, and she laughed. Would anyone dare to tell Mr. Modi you're a trainee prime minister?
She has a sense of humor.
She has a great sense of humor. She's a terrific cook and she's a terrific painter. And I think that for Mr. Modi to say that, I tolerated a meme and Mamta Banerjee didn't is a bit rich. You have raided media houses that are critical of you. You try to raid Dainik Bhaskar because they were showing photos of COVID. You have raided BBC. You have shut down media outlets. You do not like critics. You have imprisoned critics. You have imprisoned opposition chief ministers on the eve of elections. You have put sedition cases on your critics. You are not allowing comedians to function, and to then say, oh, but this meme was okay. I mean, it's a bit rich. It's a bit rich. Mamta Banerjee has faced the most incredible criticism. BJP leaders have insulted her terribly, and the left. They've made cast aspersions on her family, on her father, on her parentage. The way a woman leader is attacked and abused in India is vicious. It is vicious, and from men and women. I mean, the name calling, the kind of sort of personalized abuse. I mean, the way Narendra Modi came to Calcutta, came to Bengal and started that cat call, Didi, oh Didi, which was nothing but a kind of harassing kind of a cat call of a woman. And so the manner in which the BJP treats her and the way she's spoken about often, and the kind of vicious attacks that there are on her. So maybe the Calcutta police acted a little preemptively. Maybe they acted preemptively. There is a level of protectiveness about her because of the manner of the kind of really sleazy things that are said. She's incredibly tough. She's incredibly tough. She's out there with the people every day. She's truly the last of the mass leaders. And I feel very privileged that I can see her work because India used to have this.
Who would you compare her to?
I think I would compare her to perhaps Jayalalitha in her heyday.
That kind of fan following.
That kind of
cult following.
Massive support from women. She has a 6% lead among women, as you know, and among women voters. And so she's the last of the mass leaders. And the thing is, and mass leaders are not made by just oratory and showmanship and coming on a stage and, talking about this and talking about that. She never makes a song and dance about her life story. She never markets herself and markets her life story. She doesn't. But she's a mass leader in the sense that she rushes to wherever people are in need. If a bridge collapses, she will run there. When there was a hurricane in Jalpaiguri, she rushed there overnight. She took the night flight and went there. She sits there. She sits with the people until they get there, until they get compensation. If the railway accident happens, she will run there and sit there until the victims are taken care of. So that is the kind of leader she is. That is the kind of mass leader she is. She's not a mass leader who comes on stage and performs and, gives fancy speeches. She does give extremely powerful speeches, but they come from her experience as a leader of people. And I think this species is dying out in India. She's the last of the great leaders of people.
West Bengal as a place, now that you campaign a lot there and you spend much more time there. Again, it's something that people here look at it as a place which is like a bit dark. We think that there's violence during elections. Is it a highly misunderstood place?
I'm so glad you asked me this question, Deepthi, because I really feel that Bengal gets such a bad press, just such a bad press. If I can give you some figures, Bengal's state domestic product, the average state domestic product, has grown from 4 lakh crore in 2011 to 17 lakh crore in 2023.
So business is thriving.
Business, there's ease of doing business. We had one of the best financial brains as finance minister, Dr. Amit Mitra. Our manufacturing rate of growth is 7%. The national average is 6.5%. So, we're higher than the national average. There are 1,000 IT companies in Bengal at the moment. There are 22 IT parks with 85% occupancy. The multidimensional poverty index, which measures multidimensional poverty, 34% of Bihar is under the multidimensional poverty index, 23% in UP, 21% in Madhya Pradesh. In Bengal, only 12% are under the multidimensional poverty index. Huge difference. Huge difference. And so, but if you look at the way Bengal is covered, I think the Bengal model of women's empowerment, the Bengal model of development is a bigger and more successful model than the Gujarat model. I mean, look at the Kanyashri program. This was started in 2013, much before any other state thought about it. 85 lakh girls are benefiting from the Kanyashri program. We have, it's been given a United Nations Award for public service, right? Durga Puja has been given the United Nations Award for living heritage, for intangible heritage of humanity. It's a huge, we have taken it to international standards. In the Durga Puja celebration in Bengal, it's seen as a sort of international heritage for humanity. So there's so much happening in Bengal. There's so much, there is so much work going on. The Lokhir Bhandar program, the fact that
what is that?
That is the Lokhir Bhandar program is provision for women. Food? Again, okay. It's a women's welfare program, and the allotments of that have recently been raised. The Shastro Shati program. There are a slew of programs for women. There is representation of women in public life. The Trinamool Congress consistently gives above 30% representation to women in panchayat elections,
Okay.
in legislative elections, in Lok Sabha polls. We've given almost 30% tickets to women this time in the 2024 general election. So, there's a lot about Bengal that doesn't get covered because of the media's bias and the legacy media's bias of somehow to show Bengal as a place of violence, as a place of, the only time Bengal is covered is during incidents of violence, or there's incidents of some social turmoil. That is when the press will come and do a kind of Peoply Live broadcast 24/7. But the other aspects of Bengal, the manner in which the economy has been managed, the manner in which businesses are being managed, the manner in which women's welfare is being carried out through a raft of schemes, none of those are covered. So there's a media crisis when it comes to Bengal.
When we talk about women empowerment, we will have to talk about Sandesh Khali. And now 2 women have come out and said that they signed the paper under duress. There are different versions that keep coming out. Just tell us a bit about what was actually happening and what in your view is being done now.
So, I will tell you, before I begin on the explanation, I'll tell you that the constituency of Sandesh Khali is Boshirhat.
Okay.
And in that constituency, Trinamool Congress will win by 2 lakh votes.
Okay.
So there is no question of
popularity there.
Mamata Banerjee's popularity taking a hit in Sandesh Khali. It's 2 blocks in one constituency.
Okay.
You must remember, it's one block 1 and block 2. I think what happened in Sandesh Khali is that for years there was what the locals call a Bhumi Andolan going on. It was a land agitation. And there were aspects of, there were grievances that families had about that land being taken over by certain figures who are there. The BJP decided to use this agitation, came in there with money. You've seen the viral video, came in there with money, with, things like mobile phones and giving all kinds of other inducements to women there, and got them to file fake rape cases. And the women are saying that they didn't even know what they were signing, that they got them to sign on blank pieces of paper. Rekha Sharma, the National Commission of Women chief, actually went there and apparently got them to sign these blank pieces of paper. That's what the women are saying. We are actually now saying that this diabolical, sinister, low-down, sleazy conspiracy to use women as instruments for a political agenda is the lowest form of politics we have ever seen. Please play politics with the Trinamool Congress. Come and play politics with us on an open field. We are rivals in the political field. Please play politics with us. But don't use women in this way. Don't misuse the rape law. So these women are now coming out and saying that these confessions were forced out of them. Now, Deepthi, rape in any village, mass rape, is, and I've said before in a cataclysm, is a cataclysm. Mass rape is a cataclysm. People don't keep quiet. Families will come out. Husbands and mothers and elders will come out. Mass rape is a assault on the social fabric. And in a highly aware and highly sensitized place like Bengal, the way the BJP was saying that there are mass rapes going on, there would have been an outcry. And do you really think that Mamata Banerjee, as a woman, as someone who cherishes the woman voter and who is always there for the woman voter, would not act if there were mass rapes? It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Would we keep quiet as women parliamentarians? My gosh,
and what's the culture of the place?
So there was
Do women speak out?
So when on this rape issue was completely and utterly a fabricated lie by the BJP, which has now come out in the statements that the women are making. So it was a lie, it was a conspiracy, it was a really sleazy, low-down effort by the BJP to score political points by making women instruments in their quest for political advantage. And it's backfired on the BJP badly. It's backfired on the BJP badly. Yeah. Yes, there is an issue with the land grievances. And in those matters, the law will take its course. The law will take its course. We have expelled Shah Jahan Sheikh for 6 years from the party.
Okay.
Shah Jahan Sheikh has been expelled. What has the BJP done? The BJP has given a ticket to Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh's son. The same Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh where women wrestlers were protesting on the street and saying that he sexually assaulted them. They've given a ticket to his son, who's just a proxy of the father. We still don't know where Prajwal Revanna is. So the Trinamool Congress acts. We have taken action. We have expelled Mr. Shah Jahan Sheikh from the party, and the law will take its course on the land grievances or whatever the grievances are there. In fact, we immediately sent teams. We sent police teams, we sent ministers. They were all there. They were sitting there registering complaints and noting down who had lost how much land and how much had to be returned. The land that had been taken over is being returned, and the law will take its course. But there was no rape in Chandesh Khali. This is a big BJP sleazy lie.
Okay, and the governor Ananda Bose also got into trouble recently because of there's an accusation against him. Now he's saying that it's a conspiracy by the TMC, and the TMC government is known to not get along with its previous governor also. Why do you think that equation
Because
happens?
the governors under the Modi regime are being used as RSS headquarters.
Okay.
The Rajbhavans are being transformed into RSS offices. The governors are going, whether it's the governor of Kerala, whether it's the governor of Tamil Nadu, whether it's the governor of Bengal, every governor is on a collision course with an opposition ruled government. Because they're interfering, they're trying to play politics, they are using the governor's office, using the Raj Bhavan to play politics. Having said that, this is a shocking case. It's a shocking case. A woman a young woman who works in the Raj Bhavan has leveled these allegations against none other than the governor.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. She works there. She's leveled these allegations against none other than the governor, who then made a series of strange, dramatic statements, then ran away to Kerala, has now come back and is talking about Mamata Banerjee and her police. Why should he say her police? Why is he undermining the West Bengal police? The governor has to face a free and fair inquiry. He can't run away from it. And this is the prestige of the Raj Bhavan. And the funny thing is, on the evening that she made the complaint, Mr. Modi, who is perpetually campaigning in Bengal, arrived in Kolkata and stayed at the Raj Bhavan that very evening. And I want to ask the question, did Mr. Modi ask the governor, what has happened? Why are there these complaints about you? You know, this is after all the prestige of the Raj Bhavan. But Mr. Modi hasn't said a word. Why doesn't Mr. Modi ask the governor to resign? Mr. Narendra Modi should ask the governor of Bengal, C.V. Ananda Bose, to resign.
Okay. Talking about Mr. Modi campaigning in Bengal, he's said that how the East is consolidated and he's very positive about the numbers there. What do you think of his popularity in West Bengal?
I don't think Modi's popularity exists in Bengal. I think if the Bengal voter is serious-minded, is very aware, and knows that he only comes at election time. He hasn't, after the BJP lost the assembly elections of 2021, Modi hasn't come at all. He's like a migratory bird who only comes during elections and asks for votes. So the popularity of Modi is at a low in Bengal. I would say the popularity of Modi is waning across India. Yeah. The Modi charisma is waning across India. And the kinds of statements that he's making, they'll take away your Mangal Sutra, people shouldn't eat fish, people shouldn't eat mutton. I mean, you don't know anything about Bengal. Mr. Amit Shah once said that Tagore was born in Shantiniketan, which is complete nonsense. Tagore was born in Kolkata, the Jorashankar Thakurbari. They have no idea about Bengal. They want to shut down, they're casting aspersions on people eating fish. During Navaratri, Bengalis, we are fish eaters. We have fish even in devotional occasions. So anyway, who is the government or who is Mr. Modi to say that you can't eat this, you can't do this, you can't wear this, you can't talk like this, you can't think. The Modi government is trying to destroy the identities of India's states. The particular identities of whether it's Bengal, whether it's Tamil Nadu, whether it's Kerala, whether it's Andhra, whether it's Karnataka, the unique identities of every state are being destroyed by the Modi government in the pursuit of this one nation, one leader, one party, one language, one god, one temple, in this one fixation that they have. So I think the Bengali voter is very self-aware. I don't think the Bengali voter is going to be taken for granted at all. I think that Trinamool Congress is heading for a sweep in Bengal. I think we're going to win very big. In 2021, Mr. Amit Shah made all kinds of inflated claims that they were going to get, above 200 seats. He ended up getting 77. So whatever Amit Shah is claiming, just cut that by 1/3. Now he's saying 35, so that means 1/3 of that. So the BJP will be around at a much lower figure.
Okay, and there's often a talk, obviously, by the India bloc and the opposition that democracy is under threat and the free speech is under threat. So, as somebody who's covered, you've been a journalist for almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
And you've written a book about Indira Gandhi.
Several books. I've written a biography of Indira Gandhi and Atal Bihari
Vajpayee. And so, obviously, during the emergency, that was the darkest period for free speech. Why do you think this time is different? Why, if it's been done before?
It hasn't been done before, Deepti. You know what Indira Gandhi did compared to what Mr. Modi is doing makes Indira Gandhi's actions seem like a parking offence, like a traffic offence.
Elaborate.
You know what she did? All she did in the Allahabad High Court judgment of 12 June 1975, which unseated her, disqualified her for 6 years as Prime Minister, and said that you're dismissed from being Prime Minister and you can't contest elections for 6 years. This was the Allahabad High Court judgment on 12 June 1975, right? What had she done? She had used the services of her PA for some election work. The PA, who was a government servant, was also her personal secretary, and she had used him before he had resigned from government service for some electoral work. Just her own PA, the one guy, Yashpal Kapoor, who was a government servant, and her PA, for this you must read my book, she had used him for some small election related matter, right? And she had used a couple of loudspeakers from the UP government to make a speech. A couple of loudspeakers, one PA, a couple of loudspeakers. For this she was dismissed as Prime Minister. It was called electoral malpractice, and she was not allowed to contest for 6 years. What is happening today? What is happening today? The entire election commission is marching to the tune of the Prime Minister. The Modi government has changed the judgment of the Supreme Court and taken away the Chief Justice from the selection panel of election commissioners. So the selection panel of election commissioners is only Mr. Modi's colleague in the ministry, and the leader of opposition. The Chief Justice has been removed from the selection panel of election commissioners. Look at the way the election commission is acting, sending notice after notice to the opposition,
and when you just compare
not doing anything to the ruling party. Mr. Modi is making the most horrendous hate speeches. No notice has gone to him. 95% cases of the ED are against opposition leaders. The Indian Express came out with a report that since 2014, 25 opposition leaders have joined the BJP.
But when you
23 of them
speech,
have the cases have been dropped. So the BJP washing machine is in progress. Sorry.
When you just look at the free speech part.
What free speech is there? My God! Today you say anything, you'll have a FIR against you. You'll have the IT cell after you. You'll be put under sedition. You'll be maybe charged under UAPA. Journalists have been charged under the terror laws. Modi government has changed the terror law, changed UAPA. UAPA was earlier to be put on could be put on organizations.
Congress,
Now it came under the Congress, but the terrorist charges under UAPA could only be put on organizations. Something is just some
not
organization is not individuals. You're absolutely right. Now Modi government has changed it. You can put it on individuals. And who is it being put on? Siddiq Kapan, a journalist who went to cover the Hathras rape. He's under UAPA. So you've got, there's no comparison. There's no comparison between what Indira Gandhi did and what Mr. Modi is doing. Indira Gandhi, I always say, was a half-hearted dictator. She imposed the emergency, but then she called elections. She was defeated in the elections. She accepted the verdict and resigned and left. So she was a half-hearted dictator. I think Mr. Modi is a full-hearted dictator. So I don't think what Mr. Modi is doing even compares to what Indira Gandhi is doing. Indira Gandhi did, as I said, I think compared to Modi, Indira Gandhi was committed a small parking offence. Today, free speech, I don't think exists. It doesn't exist. I mean, you've got comedians who who can no longer do comedy. You've got film stars who can no longer speak. You've got journalists who are shunted out of organizations. You've got writers who are deported. You've got academics who have spoken in a certain way, who come to attend an academic conference and who are deported. You've got foreign correspondents who cover a French foreign correspondent, veteran French correspondent who's been covering India for decades. She was not allowed to do reporting anymore. She was sent out of India. So where is free speech? There is no free speech. There is only at election time we have a little bit of
room,
breathing space. You're absolutely right. We have a little bit of room. But let me tell you, if they come again with their 400 par or their 300 par or whatever, I think the democracy we have and the constitution we have and our precious constitution and our precious Article 19 giving us all those rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of movement, is going to cease to exist.
If they come with a thumping majority.
If they come with a thumping majority, it will cease to exist.
To oppose that, obviously, you're part of the India bloc. But in Bengal, you are against the Congress, right? You're fighting against the Congress.
We are against the Congress in Bengal. We consider the Bengal Congress of ARC.
How is that working relationship?
We are firmly with the Indian National Congress.
Okay.
At the national level. We are allies of the Indian National Congress. We are with the India bloc. We have been with the India bloc. We will always be with the India bloc. The name India was given by Mamata Banerjee.
Okay.
So we will always be with the India bloc, and we are with the India bloc. But we are with the Indian National Congress, not with the Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary Congress. We are with the INC, not with the ARC.
Okay.
Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the manner in which he speaks about Mamata Banerjee, the language he uses about Mamata Banerjee, the foul language that he uses, the open dealings he has with the BJP convinces us that he is actually a spokesperson for the BJP. So we are the India Alliance in Bengal, not the Congress, not the left. We are the India Alliance. In Bengal, the Trinamool Congress is the India Alliance.
And how
it's like in Kerala. It's like in Kerala. In Kerala, the left and Congress are are competing against each other. But at the national level, left and Congress are allies. So it's like Kerala. We have no alliance with the Bengal Congress, no alliance with the Bengal left. We are allied with the Indian National Congress at the national level.
And what are the numbers that you're looking at for this?
I'm not going to be pushed into numbers. Okay. I'm not going to be pushed into numbers. But I think we are heading for a big win. I think the BJP is at the moment losing the elections of 2024. Okay. I think Mr. Modi and the BJP are losing. And I think they know they're losing, which is why they're desperate. So, which is why they're using so much of communal polarization, Muslims, Mangal Sutra, mutton, God knows what all they're saying. I think that the India Alliance at this moment is poised to score very handsomely in the general elections of 2024. And in Bengal, I think the Trinamool Congress is going to do extremely well.
Okay. So my last question is, your husband is still part of journalism. And you guys get enough tweets with each other's photos or,
Yes.
What is the dinner table conversation like? Do you guys get into arguments or do you guys keep work outside the
We
door?
keep it completely separate.
Okay.
We've actually got quite used to it because, we've always worked for rival media organizations.
Do you tell each other that please don't post this, it'll affect me?
No. We don't, we don't bring work home, don't bring home work. Don't bring work home, don't take home to work.
Okay.
So we keep it completely separate. So at the moment our dinner table conversation are the kids and the dog and family stuff. We don't talk about our work at all because I think the overlaps are too many and there would be too many gray areas. So we don't go there at all. We're now also occupying different parts of the house as well because I have my work, he has his. Yeah. We try and keep our work completely separate. That's true.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sagarika. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me,
We had a lovely conversation and all the best.
And thanks for having us. I want to thank you for having me and for giving the opposition a voice. There are very few platforms that give us voices anymore. So
the Statesman is always there.
Thank you to the Statesman. And I know the Statesman has a huge sort of heritage and a legacy. And I remember a time when, my family just couldn't live, breathe without the Statesman
Yeah,
in
it's
the
almost
morning.
200 years old.
Yes, it is the Statesman.
Yeah.
You know, you can never get away from that. So thank you for giving us space, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. If you like the episode, don't forget to share it, and also like, share and subscribe to all our social media channels. They are all listed below.